Right now, they market hip-hop as a thug thing. Like, yeah, I bust a cap and I push keys and me and my Lex and my Tech 9. And so, you know, the B-boys left out.
The heads would not understand if I told them the importance of breaking culturally. It'd go over their head.
No doubt, because you got a lot of new kids in there. They don't know nothing about old school, or they claim to be old school, they be fronting. You know what I mean?
I can't really say I invented it because it was a couple of us that really invented it in school, 6th, 7th grade.
And because it's a real art form, it lives through the bad times of it.
It's almost like the Bible, you know. Eventually, man, you gotta go back to the original scripture and the original language it was written in. And I think that everybody in the East and the West Coast need to redefine our dance and then take control of it again.
And the intensity of b-boying, and then just the intensity of our situation in the ghetto, all of that piled into one. When you look at b-boying, it makes sense. It's like, okay, I can see where this is coming from. It's a lot deeper than just, well, this is fun and I think it may start out as that.
And getting noticed for the culture of it, not because it's a street dance and it's gonna always stay in the streets.
I think people need this. There's no way you cannot need this in society right now. Coming from the ghetto where everyone thinks it's so negative and we're doing something positive, you know what I'm saying? How can that not become big? Or how can that not become respected in society?
We did the first shows and set the foundation, what has become an industry now, and we ain't getting no love. Why is that?
We were known as B-boys.
B-boying is like the ultimate body manifestation of hip-hop. Not only do you have your feet moving, your hands moving, you're using every single part of your body, your head, your neck, your intellect, and also your character.
It's like a charge that I get. It's kind of equivalent to the excitement you get from watching a basketball player coming down and he's about to do an incredible move and you just, it's like you create this tension and you release it. And visually it's exciting.
It's an incredible dance. I mean, who in a million years would have thought like, wow, spinning on your head, or doing windmills, having your feet kick up and propel. Who would have thought that a person could spin on one hand?
It's not a trend. You cannot say it's a trend anymore. It's a legitimate art form.
You can't just do it 2 hours a day and okay, I'll do it when I go to the gym. We used to eat, piss, shit, drink, think, b-boying.
Whenever you heard Sex Machine, Just Begun, Apache, for any real b-boy, they would feel it in their body and it would just make you dance, even if you didn't like dancing.
To me, it's about music, and it's about what music does to people. Music is what makes me develop my styles and my moves. The record that comes on makes me feel a certain way, and that's the way I feel when I dance.
Breaking is always, it's hip-hop, straight up. Hip-hop is the name of our creative intelligence.
Hip-hop is a culture that started in the boogie down Bronx.
Hip-hops are different elements dealing with music, rap, graffiti art, B-boys, what you call break boys, or B-girls, what you call break girls, and also dealing with culture and a whole movement dealing with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, as well as peace, unity, love, and fun.
Hip-hop is beautiful to me because it always challenges America's notion of what they believe young, disenfranchised people to be. Like these people, us,
who was supposed to be like just the bottom of society, not know anything, not have like one good idea, come up with like breaking.
I think it really started out of a few brothers or sisters that just didn't care what people thought, you know, just responded to these breaks.
Kids with no money, living in the ghetto, living in urban environments, living in the projects, creating a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Hip-hop has progressed from when it was just B-boys and B-girls and DJs and rappers to now an international phenomenon.
All these other rap artists started coming around and started making money. I'm thinking, wait a minute, what about Kool Herc? He was the one who started this whole thing.
Kool Herc is the godfather of hip-hop. When we say of hip-hop, we mean the whole rim of things, because he did graffiti, he brought the music, and his crew did the dancing. So when they say he's the godfather of hip-hop, they actually mean he's the godfather of hip-hop.
Definitely is.
When Kool Herc gave a party, everybody be there.
And if you search the history, anybody would know that the first big DJ was Kool Herc. You know, we used to all go to Herc's parties. We used to dance at Herc's parties. When I was about 5 or 6 years old, I used to listen to Herc play. He used to play at Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx. I lived in 1600 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx, the building right next door. But I could never go. But I would always just keep in the back of my mind this obscure kind of scene that I wanted to be involved in and wanted to be down with. He was starting hip-hop.
We followed Herc every fucking where Herc went. Herc was the man, you know, because Herc had the shit. And Herc had the atmosphere. I mean, really, there was nothing like a Kool Herc party.
We heard the music from way down the block. We heard, you know, Herc had the big speakers. We walked down the block. Closer we got, the louder the bass got. And all we could hear is this tall, light-skinned guy going, "This is DJ Kool Herc, and you always come back for more."
And we used to rent this for $25. Half the party was inside and half was outside. That's how packed it got. Till one summer, I gave the first block party right here between the buildings. And that told me where my career was heading, where the clientele was heading. We couldn't come back here. That was it. That was the birth of hip hop, man.
Herc used to play a part of a record that had a breakdown in it. And that's why they call the records break beats. Now, it was a part of any record that had a breakdown where all the music dropped out and it was just a beat. And these beats were so hyped and so frantic that when the music dropped out, it was just a beat, everybody would go off.
And I noticed people used to just wait for those particular part of the record. And I started buying 2 records. I started prolonging the records, the breaks. For instance, James Brown would come into clap your hands, stomp the feet, clap your hands, stomp the feet. I get another one to extend that part. Clap your hands, clap your hands.
We used to always, when we were in a circle, wait for the break of the record. That was it. We would get down to the break of the record.
I call that particular part of the music the merry-go-round. Because I'm going to take you the merry-go-round back and forth, giving you no slack.
The break of the record, B, break. We are the B-boys.
Word B-boy originated from Kool Herc.
B-boys really stood for Bronx, or really breaking boys, because, you know, when people would be breaking at the party, you know, starting trouble.
B-boys and B-girls, break beats. Break boys, break girls.
I can tell you straight up, the terminology breaking comes from the street terminology. The people should say, "Why you breaking on me? Why my mom's breaking on me? Why you acting crazy?" It really just meant doing shit above normal.
The DJs used to cut breaks, and the B-boys would break to what? The breaks. So, you know, it's just common sense, man.
You know, when somebody get mad, yo, he's breaking, stop breaking, man. And if Kool Herc says it, it's official.
B-boy. Boy, that break. It didn't come from breaks on the record. It come from this man, he broke. He went to a point, a breaking point. You understand? So we just use that exaggeration of that term to the dancing. The B-boys, break boys.
breaking goes back, as far as I know, talking to founders of the dance, no later than 73. And these are breakers who used to break mainly on top.
It was like a whole new movement, just like a spontaneous thing that just happened in the party.
Certain styles of dances came out that you knew was the new dance, and you did it. But with breaking, burning, and going off, other people that liked it would adapt it, and that became like that agenda.
You knew how to do it. You just come in, you do your little posturing and posing, and and then you go down, and then like if you're doing a good move, then people will gather around. So then you got a little circle, and somebody might get in there and challenge you.
All back here was lit up with music, and this is where a lot of them start dancing at. Put a speaker right out here. Everybody having fun. all that crazy stuff.
Because you see all this shit come together. Then you got people like the Nigga Twins, all of a sudden they going down to the floor.
It was one of the brothers that used to be down with Kool Herc, and he had like a little spin move where he would like do that little spin move. And that was actually the first time I ever seen somebody, go down on the floor.
We saw people dancing and we wanted to dance. And it's just that our style of dancing was not like anybody else's.
Funny thing was the Nigga Twins used to always have straws in their mouth.
The Nigga Twins used to come in with cigars and trench coats. And they used to come in and split the place up and act like Groucho Marx. And they used to walk in with the cigars and then meet up in the middle.
When we used to go down on the floor, we didn't get dirty. And we didn't dance on linoleum. We didn't dance on cardboards. We danced on the cement.
Them was the real B-boys from back in the days, you know what I'm saying?
Original top rock isn't the top rock that they do now. It goes like this. That was the original top rock. It wasn't like this. You know what I mean? And there was an Indian step that looked like this.
Our up rock was straight up B-boy up rock, like like straight up B-boy.
B-boying on the floor didn't come out to like maybe the ending of 74, 75, where people actually started going down and breaking on the floor.
I don't know who did it, but eventually somebody went down and stayed down.
So from up rocking, I brought it to the floor. That's why I was so good, because I was. From there on, it just kept going and kept going. Bruce and them brought it out to the Bronx River. Before you know it, there was Zulu Kings. Word up.
It was really a combination of sweeps, CCs, which is the side-to-side movements when you're facing front, and steps like the Russian, which look exactly like a Russian. You cross your arms and you kick front. The steps were a lot more basic, and it looked a lot more. If there's a B-boy out there that I would compare old style to, the real old style is Frosty Freeze. When you see Frosty in like Flashdance and old footage of him, and sometimes he still does it today, when you see his footwork, it doesn't look complete. That looked more like what the original B-boys looked like back in the days.
They used to do a style that I hardly see anyone do, which is more like jerky type of, it wasn't like a six-step, this is how it goes. It was a little more sporadic and wild spirit, like boom, freezing, blah, blah, you know what I'm saying?
And then with the godfather hip hop, myself, Africa Bambaataa, you had what you call the Zulu Kings.
I grew up watching more like the Zulu Kings, Beaver. Beaver was like the biggest name in b-boying, period. I mean, you couldn't find nobody better than Beaver until Spy came along and blasted him with Track 2 and the brothers.
Everything, all the breaking and stuff like that were considered underground. And so Kool Herc brought everything out into the open. And that was like, say, 74, 75. All the underground stuff, all the in-house, all the hallway dances, and all the house party dances were brought out to the street. And the more they took it to the street, the more nationalities got involved in it. It was no longer an Afro-American thing. The Hispanic took to the dance.
I know for a fact that when I went to some parts, it was rare to see a Puerto Rican dancer breaking. And when they did, it was like, oh shit, check out the Puerto Rican B-boy,
A lot of people used to call it like, like the Latinos, Moreno means black, they'd be like, yo, that's that Moreno style, and that's the original style of B-boying.
Though black kids invented breaking as we know it, as we understand it. It was the Puerto Rican kids that put breakers on their backs.
Batch is one of the first Hispanic breakers ever.
Don't forget, I'm 35 years old, eh?
South Soul was the crew where basically we all came out of. The first all-Hispanic breaking crew. After South Soul, Batch started up the TBB crew, and they were a big crew.
We was one of the best breakdancing crews out there. And I believe that, you know, up to today's date, if I would have kept going to jail, you know, and a lot of my people getting killed and going to jail as well, we could have probably been one of the big industries today out here making money.
Swipes in the air that you see legs do. That was originated by my partner, Spy, who I consider the best breaker I have ever seen break. That's undisputable. I mean, whoever knows breaking, that name has to come up.
He's one of the first B-boys ever, and he was known as the man with 1,000 moves, and his name is Spy. So I want to bring him up here so y'all can see what he. Come up here, man.
Spy was a legend to me because he was already called the man with 1,000 moves. I used to always go to mom and pop's social club or nightclub, whatever you want to call it. It was a basement, really, on Crotona Avenue, and I used to go there a lot to try to see Spy. And then one day I saw Spy there, and I saw him. I'll never forget. He had this red hat on, and his afro was just like poofing right out the side. His hat was to the side, just like this. And that's why whenever I go down right now, whenever I start breaking, I got a hat on, you know, this is just like straight Spy. This is the Spy in me, you know what I mean?
When they would tell me stories about Spy, I would look in the sky and be like, trying to picture myself with it, trying to put myself there, you know, like in the gymnasium, in the church. And when I saw him break, I was like, wow, you know. It's just like this energy around a person, you know what I'm saying? There's an energy around people that, you know, the stories are the stories. There's a reason why they're being said. There was an energy around him. He was mad clean and mad smooth. It was just like he didn't have to do anything really incredible. He did whatever he did, it looked sweet.
Track 2 was like little ladies' man back then.
You know, track 2, at one point they said he was the best.
JoJo and them used to be off the hook, for real. They used to be like traveling. They was like gypsies in a way, because they used to find out wherever they jamming at, go there, and whoever was dancing over there, they would knock them off, for real.
Them boys were just so incredible. They were like stars coming out. These brothers would come out dressed, you know, not like bums like a B-boy was. Usually all bummy dressed. These guys would be dressed nice, and boom, they'd come out and they were like stars. Yo, there goes JoJo, there goes Spy, there goes Jimmy D. There goes Ollie, there's track 2 right there with his big old track nameplate. Those are the brothers that made up the moves. All the moves that you see nowadays come from the root of those people.
Like 79, late 78. By then, a lot of black brothers wasn't really dancing anymore.
The disco scene killed breakdancing. In the disco scene, the DJ couldn't throw in no beats. He had to keep that. He had to keep that. So for him to throw in Apache, he would disrupt the dance floor and he'd get fired.
I mean, you couldn't really ask a girl to dance and she'd be like, yeah, and then you'd be like, you know what I'm saying? She ain't trying to feel that.
When I started doing my shit in 77, by the time 79 came around, I had brothers looking at me like, yo, why you doing that? That's played out.
I used to hustle, and I used to practice by myself because I didn't dare cut in with the girls, thinking that a girl might be, oh, who's you, you know? So I used to just take to the floor, and I took all my aggression. They didn't notice me for my hustling abilities. They were gonna notice me for my breaking abilities.
Rocksteady crew started in 77. A lot of its members were like all-star B-boys from the Bronx. The guys that started Jimmy D and JoJo, they hung out on at 115 Park in the Bronx.
We came up with the word rock steady. We started thinking because we want to continue dancing. We wanted to keep it at a steady pace.
You know, when they started doing it, a lot of people called it rocking, going off. And what they wanted to do, you know, they noticed that a lot of people were stopping around 76, 77. And, you know, they wanted to keep it going on, you know what I'm saying? They wanted to keep the rock steady. And when they started getting too old for it and it started dying down with them, they passed it along to Legs.
In 79, I moved to Manhattan. 1979, a lot of B-boys were locked down, doing stick-ups or whatever, murders, or went away to Job Corps, or just got regular jobs. Retirement age for a B-boy back then was like 16, 17 years old. When I moved to Manhattan, I used to always try to come back to the Bronx and go to the jams, do whatever I can to get back on the weekends, stay over on Cortona Avenue.
Between the summer of 76 and 77, me and my friends, we had a crew called the Rock City Crew. And then like around 79, the dance started fading out. I still kept on, but the only time I would go down is if I seen somebody else. And then my cousin Ty Fly, he introduced me to Ken Swift and his crew called the Young City Boys.
My crew, we were just like mischievous. We used to do things like go and throw, down the alley, there's a precinct right straight there. We used to throw eggs at the police and run.
They were like, 3 or 4 years younger than me, so I looked like the big kid of them. But, I told them anytime y'all have any battles coming up, I'll take your side.
I got down Rocksteady when I battled Legs, and then a lot of my crew got down Rocksteady.
And Mr. Freeze was part of Rocksteady in the Bronx already.
The only white boy I knew that was a B-boy was Mr. Freeze. He was the only white boy, the first white boy in the Bronx with juice. He could go in any black Puerto Rican neighborhood and walk through and say, I'm Mr. Freeze, Rocksteady crew. He was like, oh, yo, you're cool, man.
Me and my cousin Lenny Lamb, we were traveling all over the place, battling people, and then just like start hanging out with them. When you hang out with those people, they might know someone that might be breaking in another area. Like, all right, cool, let's go over there. I want to battle them. It's like the martial arts films where it's like, yeah, I heard your style is good, but mine is better. And you go there and you test their style. And that was my way of recruiting.
Our crew was called the Rock City Rockers, man, from the 173rd Street area. We were battling, we would do it for fun because there were really nobody in our area that we, you know what I mean, that were really involved until we met up with a guy called Crazy Legs. I was like, oh man, yeah, I want to adapt that style, man. That's why my name is Little Crazy Legs.
That's basically how I met everyone else that ended up being in Rocksteady. I met up with Frosty Freeze, he knew people, Take One knew people, Ken Swift, Mr. Wiggles, then you had my peeps from Cortona, Toxic, A1. We just had like 500 members of Rocksteady.
Johnny J is my name. Yeah? Frosty Freeze, please. Ripski, please. Dualism. Crazy Legs. Lenny. Never go skiing. Can again. Roski. Mr. Freeze. Top block can't be stopped.
One of the first times I met Rocksteady and we did something together, Henry Chalfant, legendary graffiti photographer, documentarian, got together with the Rocksteady crew because so many graffiti artists used to come to Henry's studio to look at his photos of the trains that he began to realize that a lot of these guys were also breakdancers. Hence, they were the Rocksteady crew. Henry knew me, he knew a bunch of other heads, and he said, listen, I wanted to put together like a show. And they projected the slides up of the graffiti while a Rocksteady crew danced, and I rapped, and the DJ was cutting it up. And that was reviewed in the Village Voice. The Village Voice wrote a big article on that. And from then, it seemed like it was on.
We started doing that. Henry Chalfant put us on. And what we were doing is we were breaking up Rocksteady crew into two groups. It was Rocksteady and Breakmasters for shows. Just battle each other, but it got to a point where like, yo, forget this, let's make it interesting. And we were hooked up with a show at Lincoln Center. Henry Chalfant again hooked us up with that show. It was like, yo, let's see, let's battle dynamic in a neutral ground now. In Lincoln Center, Manhattan, boom. 95th was covered by National Geographic. It was came out in the front page of Metro section in the New York Times. It was also in 2020.
And they showed it on Channel 7, ABC News. I just remember seeing legs on the news, and I was like, oh, dip, like that's legs.
And at the end of the battle, they were like, who won the battle? All you heard was rock steady, like in the middle of Lincoln Center.
One day I was watching TV and I saw Rocksteady on TV, and I was like, whoa, if they can do it, we can do it. So I got a group back together. I went and recruited Chino, and we started from there.
To make a long story short, we met Michael Holman, who was some type of manager to Rocksteady, and in 1982, they offered us a battle.
I had a nightclub called Negril, the first hip-hop club in downtown New York. And I invited down Rocksteady crew to perform every Thursday night. Believe me, everybody was there. Rene Ricard, Francesco Clemente, Jean-Michel Basquiat, Keith Haring. And so here's where Negril comes into exposing hip-hop to the rest of the world. Because New York is a media capital. Every important magazine, every important newspaper has representation in New York City.
On the wheels of steel. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. My man. Baby, yeah.
After a while, I started getting a little bit bored with just Rocksteady crew doing a dance performance. And I said, Legs, what's up with this battles I keep hearing about? I didn't really know. And after a couple of weeks, he found a crew called Floor Masters.
Well, actually, they needed a crew to battle so they can look good on film. And they wanted a crew that wasn't as good as them so they could look real good on films. And what they didn't know is that the Floor Masters were real good.
You can't get fresher than this. That was fresh. You want a fresh style? Let me show you. You can't get fresher than this. That was fresh. You want a fresh style? Let me show you. You can't get fresher than this. That was fresh. You want a fresh style? Let me show you. You can't get fresher than this.
And when Floor Masters came down to perform, a light turned on in my head. Because what I saw was breakers who may not have been as good as Rocksteady crew in the finesse and style end of breaking. What they lacked in that, they more than made up for in the athleticism of breaking. They spun longer, faster, and harder. And I thought, that's what I want to do. I want a crew that's an athletic-like crew. That's a crew that would eventually find its way into the Olympics.
Michael Holman saw something that he felt like, wow, this is a real good thing. And, they changed the name from Floor Masters to New York City Breakers.
A lot of people think that if you're from New York and you're from the Bronx, that you know good. But we're from the Bronx, and we out here to show everybody that we're good. That the Bronx doesn't just got bums and ghettos, but it got something good too. Because we're the freshest kids out here.
I had embarked with Charlie Ahern to make the first hip-hop movie, Wild Style. My main intent with Wild Style was to show that breakdancing, graffiti, and rap were one. It was connected. Nobody has seen these forms as being a part of each other. I sought to make this film to bring all these forms together in one format so people could see like how they interrelated.